All right, excellent. It's about 60 seconds past the hour, so we're going to go ahead and jump in. Thank you for joining today's webinar. This session is titled Exposing Data from Oracle Applications for AWS Data Analytics. And it's a continuation of our series with AWS titled A Modern BI Journey. I'm Audrey Eloquin, AWS Alliance Manager at Apps Associates. And I'm fortunate to be joined today by both Srinivas Pathareddy and Madhu Paniti, Directors of Analytics at Apps Associates. Thank you to all for joining us today. So like last week, I'd like to walk us through a few house rules. Today's session is being recorded. Your lines are on mute, although questions are encouraged. We do have the time slotted for approximately 60 minutes, but the session will more than likely last approximately 45. So do feel free to submit your questions in the meantime. They can be submitted through the chat feature, and we'll answer them at the end. Time permitting, we will also open up the floor at the end for more of a Q&A. So from an agenda, today's session will focus on how to unlock your Oracle ERP data while empowering your business users. Srinivas will first tackle why it's important and how data warehousing opens up access to key information from the ERP business application. He'll focus on customers' options for extracting information from the ERP. From there, Madhu will dig into various approaches and methodologies specific to Oracle applications and review the AWS infrastructure at a high level. We'll end today's session with Q&A and closing remarks. So with that, I would like to continue the series and to introduce Srinivas to highlight the agenda. Over to you, Srinivas.
Thanks, Audrey. Okay. This is Srinivas Pathareddy. I'm going to be introducing the agenda as far as what we're going to talk about. As already mentioned, we're going to focus on exposing Oracle application data for AWS data analytics. And so we'll start with a brief introduction to who we are as Apps Associates. And then we'll go into why ERP information is relevant today. A lot of us use ERP applications and why ERP information is relevant. We'll go into, next we'll talk about, go into a proposed approach or what we think is our methodology of extracting information to the cloud. Look at comparisons of the different options that are available, especially when we look at extracting data from the cloud. And then we'll follow up with some of the case studies that we have built for our customers. What approach customers have used, what components they have used, the architecture, and then the technology tech stack they have followed along the way. And then we'll talk about, we'll also along the way, we'll highlight what our App Associates has done in order to enable customers to extract this information from the cloud, how we have automated this approach, and how do we make it easier for our customers. So a quick introduction to App Associates. App Associates was founded in 2002, headquartered in Acton, Massachusetts. We have locations in different areas in the US, along with locations in Europe and in India. There are multiple clients across different practices that we are engaged with. So there are a total of around more than 300 active customers with a total of around 900 employees working to support all our customers. And we work in a number of different areas, starting with implementing business applications in Oracle, Salesforce, enabling customers with implementing solutions for analytics, integrating applications, different applications together. And then also finally supporting both from an application point of view and also from an infrastructure point of view on a month-to-month basis, so that you have a peace of mind as far as you're not kind of struggling on maintaining and managing applications on a day-to-day basis. We have significant partnerships that we have with the different key vendors in our space, AWS being one of the significant partners that we've been working over a number of years, and we are extending this even further with data analytics and working very closely with AWS. On the application side, we are very heavily involved with Oracle, implementing a wide range of applications, and similarly on Salesforce as well. So significant partnership with all the different software providers. Now, we're talking about Oracle and App Associates here. So it's important, as far as the conversation is concerned, when we're talking about extracting Oracle information for AWS data analytics. If you look at our background, over the last number of years, we have been focused on implementing Oracle applications, implementing applications both on-premise in the AWS world, with the business suite, and then moving on to the cloud in the last few years, implementing Oracle ERP applications, supply chain, human capital, EPM applications, all in the cloud. And so this knowledge of Oracle applications and knowledge of the business process, knowledge of the data, enables us to help our customers efficiently walk through the process of not only building warehouses, but helping them all the way from the beginning, extracting information, the different applications that we have to deal with, different sources of data that we have to work with, and understanding what are the, at least as part of this session, what is the right way that we can use in order to extract this information from Oracle. So taking that experience, we want to kind of go through in detail the different options that we have used. We have helped customers develop their integration into a warehouse, and talk about pros and cons of how this data can be integrated. Now, we'll start with why information from ERP systems is relevant. Now, just a quick background. I mean, a lot of customers have been using Oracle, some form of ERP applications over the last number of decades, at least at least 2 or 3 decades now. And Oracle applications is definitely in the forefront, and a lot of our customers that we support have been using Oracle applications, starting with on-premise and then moving on to the cloud. Now, if you look at the broad range of applications and the breadth of applications, starting from financials, shipping, manufacturing, customer service, order capture, and procurement, right? If you look at the broad range of applications, the data that is captured in these applications is very significant. We have a lot of information, real-time information that is captured, like if an order is shipped, or if you're placing a purchase order, if you're receiving something, or all of those real-time information is captured in these applications and ultimately booked in your general ledger, right? So you have a lot of relevant information that is stored in these applications, and customers have been able to extract those information over the last few years using maybe an on-premise data warehouse, using it for their reporting and analytics. Now, when you look at ERP application, obviously this is very important, a foundational set of information for the organization to work financially and also to run their operational business. But then when you combine this information with other sources, right, we have a lot more sources that are becoming more and more relevant. Information that was kind of discarded or thought to be not usable have become more and more relevant. Like, say, if you look at the manufacturing operations, information about the assembly lines, how the assembly lines are doing, how do you prevent the assembly lines from going down significantly so that your operations are not impacted, right? And or all the way starting from collecting information from your devices or IoT information from robots. How do you make sure that that information can be leveraged, right? So, and then information that, if in your retail organization that you're maintaining in your websites and your portals, how do you use that information and combine that with ERP, right? So there are a lot of use cases, and this information is being looked at more closely now across organizations, and that is making it more relevant when you combine it with your standard Oracle application information, it becomes even more useful when we do that. So for example, when we talk about manufacturing operations, and if talking about hurdles of what is going to impact your production line, understanding what could potentially go wrong with your assembly lines, collecting that information, or how do you improve your devices or your robots that are out in the field collecting information, and using that information to proactively identify issues and get information so that can help improve the product itself. based on like the number of customers that have bought this product, based on single customer, if they have multiple products of it, and the volume that they're generating and the service requests that are being created, or how do you proactively get those service requests created so that all of those can be easily and proactively helping the customer. So if you look at it, so overall, I think we all understand that information is getting more and more relevant, and combining this with our operational and financial information makes it much more useful. So that's the reason we're talking about this. We're talking about it. So our starting point is going to be about how do we get this information from Oracle, at least as far as information more relevant to cloud applications, and the nature, sometimes the nature of difficulty of getting this and automating it becomes a problem. So we'll go through a high level of what we see. We have seen customers using, as I mentioned, disparate business applications. Could be on the cloud, on premise, wide. I mean, the nature of data, the data format is very different, and then using this information in a way that makes it useful for business users within an organization to access it, build their use cases in a way that makes it more easily consumable by ultimate users that want to kind of leverage key KPIs or dashboards. Now, this, I mean, and then so collecting this information, like whether it is not only from Oracle application, which is all the source information, and all the other supporting applications or business, whether it is from the websites or from your devices, collecting all the source information requires us to maintain something which in a scalable repository, which stores a lot of information, which is able to scale, and also provides that capability where you can securely manage it, and also provide ability for users to query on that and report and build use cases, right? So this information ultimately goes down into the data lake, where we have all the detailed information captured from all the details source systems that are maintained, and gives super users or business analysts or data scientists the ability to kind of manage this securely, query this usefully for their use cases, and then work with business intelligence teams within the organization to transform it and move it into a warehouse like Amazon Redshift. And then to make it more directly consumable by the organization, right? So overall, I mean, this is kind of the high-level approach. We'll get into more details of the extraction process for this, as far as this use case is concerned. Now, I'll kind of, I talked about the background and why information is relevant. So I would like to kind of introduce Madhu Pinanti, who is going to help us with the different options that are available for cloud applications and also on-premise applications as we go through this approach of extracting information from Oracle, and then talk about pros and cons, what we recommend, what App Associates has done to make it easier for our customers. So Madhu, please go ahead.
Thank you, Srinivas and Audrey. Good afternoon, everyone, and hope everyone is doing well. This is Madhu Pinanti and part of analytics team at Apps Associates with strong ERP, data warehousing, and the reporting experience. So as Srinivas mentioned, right, today I will be discussing options available to pull data out of Oracle ERP systems for data lake or enterprise reporting purpose. So our focus for today is cloud data extractions, as we are hearing some concerns on data extraction options available for cloud ERP, or HCM applications. So let us start reviewing these options. Then we will deep dive into BI Cloud Connector and BI Publisher. Srinivas, can you go back to the previous slide? Okay. So yeah, let's start with what options available in the cloud applications, right? So primarily there are 4 options. I will start with the OTBI, also called as Oracle Transactional Business Intelligence, and used for real-time and self-service reporting based on predefined subject areas. These subject areas were created by Oracle as part of the application. So we can use OTBI subject areas to create reports, schedule, and deliver to external destinations for reporting purpose. So that is one of the option available within applications. The second option is the BI Publisher. Is Also part of the Cloud ERP, which enables to extract data directly from tables. And if needed, you can write complex join to pull data from multiple tables. You can use this method to extract attributes which are not part of BICC, which are not part of the OTBA subject areas. The third option is the REST API. REST APIs are basically primarily used to extract the data as well as load into the ERP applications. I would recommend to use only for the data integration point of view, not for the data extraction point of view, because these REST APIs comes with a set of attributes when you're extracting data from Cloud ERP or HCM applications. The final one is the BI Cloud Connector, is also available within the ERP applications. This basically pulls data using BI view objects, these also called as a PVOs, to extract large volume of the data from Cloud ERP applications. These files are basically generated directly to Oracle UCM or Oracle Object Storage based on the configuration in your specific environment. So these files will be compressed in CSV file format and you can use for the reporting purpose. So based on these options, right, we will deep dive into BICC and BI Publisher in subsequent slides. Before that, I wanted to discuss, what options are available with the on-prem applications. Next slide. So if you look at on-prem applications, right, like AWS, JD Edwards, PeopleSoft. So with these applications, we have a direct database access to the objects. So there are various ways to extract the data from these applications and load into data warehouse or data lake. You can use a SQL query developer like SQL developer to extract the data, or you can write your own Oracle reports within these applications to extract and export data into other systems. The other option is data replication tools like AWS Database Migration Service or DMS to replicate data with Redshift or any other systems. So we have options to replicate specific object or schema or all schemas in the database using DMS. So this is one of the popular kind of a service which AWS provides to sync data between your transactional databases and into reporting databases or data warehouses, which helps better reporting performance experience and stuff, hitting the transactional database during the daytime when transactions are happening within the applications. Next slide. Okay. So with these, right, so I'm going back to the what options are available within the cloud, Oracle Cloud applications. So we wanted to compare a little bit with all these options, and then we will deep dive into BI Publisher and BI Cloud Connector. So all these options comes with some pros and cons. I will talk a little bit about the BI Publisher. So if you talk about the BI Publisher, primarily, as I mentioned earlier, so you can use this method to extract any attributes if they're not part of the BICC or OTBA subject area. So when you write your data model or report, you have a full access to a specific database object or set of objects. You can write your own custom queries to generate the data, and you can mention the delivery as your FTP location or email like that. The disadvantage with is basically you have to write your own custom code to create or extract the data. And also there are some limitations on the size, how much data you can extract in a specific batch. As I mentioned, REST APIs is also a good option to extract the data, but there are some limitations with respect to the data. And again, it requires a custom code to extract the data using REST APIs. But some of our customers uses REST APIs as a method to extract the data as well. The third option is the BI Cloud Connector. Again, it's provided by Oracle. It comes with a set of pre-built views, also called as PVOs, included within the Oracle Cloud App Stack. It supports large volume of the data. Only the disadvantage with is basically you don't have the option to modify or extend these PVOs. You can use as is, or you can just use the objects or attributes you needed within the PVOs, just that you cannot extend those attributes. Next slide, please. So with this one, right, so I wanted to discuss more about the BI Cloud Connector now. So what comes with the BI Cloud Connector and how important BI Cloud Connector option is available to extract the data, right? So this is primarily recommended by Oracle for the large volume of the extraction, and Oracle is adding more functionality towards it. And Oracle's direction is to use BI Cloud Connector to extract the data out of system. So again, as I mentioned, extraction is based on seeded public view objects. These PVOs are made out of like one or more database tables. We have an option to extract entire PVO or set of attributes while creating these jobs are called data sets. So also it comes with a scheduling option as well. You can run these manually whenever you need, or schedule to run automatically to generate these files. These extracted data files are directly sent to UCM server or Oracle object storage only at this point. These are very highly secured, and you can write your own FTP program to move those files to any destination to other outside of UCM. What you need to access BI Cloud Connector or UCM is two roles. One is BI ACM underscore admin role for BICC, and BICC underscore UCM underscore content admin for the UCM. These two roles are needed to use BICC and the UCM. So once these files are available, you can use any ETL or ELT tool to load into data lake or Redshift for enterprise data warehousing point of view and reporting. So once the data is available, you can use as is, or you can transform data into user understandable format. So based on our experience, BICC is one of the good options to extract the data out of Cloud ERP. And it also an advantage that you don't have to write any custom code to pull data out of ERP applications. So now I will talk a little bit about the BI Publisher option as well. And then we will talk about why we have to use BICC versus BI Publisher. So BI Publisher is another option in cloud applications. It is there for a long time. This is one of the extraction method a lot of customers uses to extract the data out of it. All you need to do is basically you have to write your own custom SQL and using a single table or multiple tables, and then you create data models and reports to generate output files. So similar to BICC or BI Cloud Connector, we have an option to run manually or scheduled to run automatically to generate these files. You can configure to receive email notifications as well if the job is successfully completed or failed, or if there are any issues. So these extracted data files can be FTP to any location as well. You can configure FTP location to S3 or local file system or whatever. Once these files are available, you can use any ETL or ELT tool to load data into Redshift for any enterprise reporting. So this is a good option when you don't have enough attributes within the BICC or OTBI. So you use BI Publisher only when you need something which is not available in other options. The problem with the BI Publisher, or the not the recommended option with the BI Publisher, is it takes some time to extract the data, and also there are some limitations with the size, how much data you can extract in a specific batch. Now, as I said, right now the question is basically when to use BICC versus BI Publisher. Our preference is to use BICC if you have the large volume of the data, as long as those PVOs supports all attributes you need for reporting. Otherwise, use BI Publisher. Other scenario is, if you don't want to write any custom code, use BICC than BI Publisher. Other option is basically if you don't want to have the curated data, if you wanted to have this raw data as is from the ERP applications, use BI Publisher, export the entire table, and maintain that raw data in data lake. So just to conclude, right, both the BICC and BI Publisher are good options to extract the data, and we have used both the options, and both the options works great, even though there are some limitations with the BI Publisher. Both of them works well for the customers. Next slide, please. So just to conclude, right, our approach to extracting the data and feeding data into data lake or enterprise data warehouse is based on customers' need. Sometimes we use BICC, sometimes we use BI Publisher, but based on our experience and working with various customers, apps associates created our own automated extraction routine from cloud applications to feed into data lake as unprocessed data, then transform data into Redshift. So our extraction routine is a combination of BICC and BI Publisher. But whether we go with the BICC or BI Publisher, we always recommend to our customers to create data lake layer, which holds raw data as is from source applications, then create a curated data set for end user consumption on top of the raw data. So as you see on the screen, right? So we are extracting an example, journal batches or headers or lines, PVOs are the direct tables, and loading into S3 as a raw data or unprocessed data. And then we are using an ETL or ELG tool to transform the data and creating a journal data set. Journal data set contains basically a curated data set within the data warehouse for any to consume that data using any reporting platform like Tableau, Power BI, QuickSight. So these are the options available within the cloud ERP. I would recommend start with the BICC. If the BICC is not supporting any specific attribute, write your own custom BI Publisher queries. So this concludes my presentation. So back to you, Srini.
Thanks, Madhu. So what I'm going to do is, based on the knowledge that we have learned, I think based on what Madhu has explained, the different options, I would like to kind of go through a couple of case studies of what we worked with our customers, and see how customers have really used. Now, not every customer follows a similar approach. I think we might encourage customers to go towards data lake and have everything in a central repository or a central location. I think there's still, I mean, this approach is still evolving as far as customers are concerned. And there is, I mean, there's a broader understanding, but I think I wanted to kind of talk about a few options of how customers are using some of these technologies, right? So we have an example of a retail customer that's using an on-premise Oracle e-business suite primarily for the financials, procurement, and the auto capture information. And then you have Excel is also a data source that is being used here to capture manual adjustments, whether it is manual adjustments that you make to the sales information that is coming from external sources, because sometimes not all of them is timely. And then or adjustments that you make to the financial numbers before you create your journal entries. In addition, I think as with any retail customer, you have external vendor data sets that are available. And these are, in some cases, organizations allow access to their portals to access information from those retail portal sites. And other cases, in other cases, they would use that information directly. They would place that information in S3 buckets for customers to access it, right? And then lastly, we have websites that we would go and collect information from, where you would access the portals directly, pull the information, and in a variety of ways. In this case, the customer has been using Lambda functions, purely written in Python code, which is extracting information. So as far as Oracle e-business suite is concerned, and Excel spreadsheet, Talent is definitely one of the two ETL tools out in the market, and this customer has kind of gone in that direction of using Talent in order to extract that information and directly feeding into Amazon Redshift. And then the data from the external vendors and the retail applications are going to the S3 bucket, which is storing all the information from the external systems. And then before it is, and then after that, it's processed and it's moved to the data warehouse in Redshift. Now, from a reporting layer, I mean, there are tools, the BI tools that are available. Some of them make it easier to access information from the S3 bucket. Some of them, it's a little bit difficult, but there are a lot of tools in the market which enable direct query access against the data that's there in S3. And then obviously, all the curated transformed information, which is directly usable in a consumable format, is available in Amazon Redshift for direct reporting, for all the way starting from sales, marketing to financial procurement information, right? So as you can see, the nature of systems are different. The data formats are different, and the type of and then the extraction process that customers are using is different. In this case, because it's an on-premise application, on-premise e-business suite, we're able to directly connect, make a connection to the database and extract that information. And then moving on to the next one, we have another use case so we have another use case. This is in a financial industry, and here the customer has two different divisions that use two different applications, and so there's one application or one division that is using the Cloud ERP application, and the other division that's using Oracle NetSuite. Now, we didn't spend too much time on in the above slides talking about Oracle NetSuite, because I mean, you have adapters that are available, different, and there are a lot of different vendors that provide adapters that make direct connection to NetSuite and enable you to get that information from into a Cloud VM file storage, where you can kind of move all your source information, and then from there move it to S3, right? But as far as Cloud ERP is concerned, we use a combination. The customer is using a combination of both BI Publisher and BI Cloud Connector, and just similar to what Madhur explained before. In this case, the Cloud Connector is used by this customer because the volume of data that the customer is trying to extract has been huge for certain data sets, and you're able to extract data in compressed format for certain data sets and then move it over to S3. And in other cases where you don't have the necessary attributes available, and you have to build your own data model and kind of build your own queries and extract that information from Cloud ERP, and you use BI Publisher, and then use that approach, which is much more flexible to identify the data sources and attributes that you want to extract from. So extract that from Cloud ERP and move it to S3, and then obviously once you have data in S3, I think you can transform that into Redshift, and before it's being used by the reporting tools. Now, and then as has been mentioned previously, this entire process is automated using a framework that we have built in Python that works for irrespective of the nature of the application, whether it is an on-premise application or a cloud application, and it would across cloud applications as well. And we should take that information from using these approaches and also other approaches that we talked about. Make it easier for you to kind of move all the information all the way to S3, and then get additional transformation enabled by moving it to Redshift and make it available for users to report out of. So this is, as you can see, with these two use cases, customers have followed different ways of how to approach their own specific use cases. I mean, the volume of data that is extracted also makes a determination on what mechanism you want to use to extract information, and also whether you have direct access to the database of choice or not. Also is a determination of the type of approach that you would use for this purpose. So overall, just to summarize, I mean, as part of this session, so what we have been, the focus has been on kind of helping, educating customers with talking about the options of how do you extract information from Oracle applications, whether it's on-premise or on the cloud, and what of the work that we have done in enabling that process to be seamless with the framework that we have built to kind of achieve that seamless integration from these applications into data lake and into the warehouse. So with that, I would like to kind of hand it over to Audrey to see if there's any questions, and then take it from there.
Excellent. Srinivas, Madhu, thank you so much for your time. So we did have some feedback from the chat. So directing this either to, Srinivas, either to you or to Madhu. But the question is, when do we use BIC versus BI Publisher?
So Madhu, if you don't mind, if you can take that.
Yeah. So again, as I mentioned, right, both BI-CC, BI Cloud Connector, and BI Publisher works. Both of them great. There are like two different purposes. Use BI Publisher if you wanted to join multiple tables and get the curated data. Use BI Publisher, but if you wanted to get the raw data, you can use BI-CC, BI Cloud Connector. But other option is basically if you are extracting a large volume of the data in one batch, as in single batch, use BI Cloud Connector. And go to the BI Publisher only if a specific attribute or table is not available as part of the BI-CC PVOs, then BI Publisher. So otherwise, I would always start with the BI-CC and then move on to BI Publisher.
Okay, excellent. And then in terms of one it's a bit more general of a question, but from your opinion, what is the best option to use when extracting data from Cloud ERP?
Yeah, so same thing, right? In my opinion, I think we should start the BI-CC. The reason for that is if you are extracting the large volume of the data, there are some limitation with the BI Publisher. So if the file size is more than 500 MB, then the program will fail. So in that case, you have to split that into multiple batches to extract the data, and then there will be additional processing, additional development work is required within BI Publisher. Otherwise, BI-CC is just a simply specifying your PVO object name and the set of columns you need to extract. There is no development required in BI-CC, but whereas there are a couple of steps you have to follow to extract the data.
Okay. All right. And then last up, are there any file size limitations with each option?
So BI Publisher fails if the file size is greater than 500 MB. With BI-CC, there is no limitations. You can even create chunks of the files. You can mention if you wanted to split the file into multiple files. That option is also available in BI-CC. Only the concern or the issue comes is basically if you are extracting, each PO comes with the 300-400 attributes. If you're trying to extract that many attributes with 100 million rows, then it may take longer time to extract. But there are no size limitations with the BI-CC, but there are size limitations with BI Publisher.
All right. Okay, well, I'll check the chat window one more time, but it looks like that will conclude our Q&A series. And so just wanted to point out a couple things as we look forward to next week and beyond. So next week's session will be right before the holiday, but we still will be presenting on the next topic at hand, which as the screen indicates, it's pertaining to the Oracle ERP. But then leveraging very specifically the AWS Data Lake and Redshift. And so this will be a co-presented presentation with AWS and ourselves. Vaidhi Krishnan, who graced us with his presence last week, will be joining Srinivas and team as well. So do put that on the calendar. Know that we still will be continuing the series next Thursday. And then in the meantime, there's a number of ways to get involved with us just to have a better understanding of what it takes to get started, and also the inherent benefit of working from an Oracle ERP perspective as we start to pertain specifically to that Oracle data. So, there is a free data analysis that's been crafted by Srinivas, Madhu, and the full team just to help customers gauge initially the inherent value behind it. So do reach out to myself. My contact information has been distributed through the series. But in the meantime, we do thank you for your time. We look forward to continuing on this journey towards modern BI with you. And in the meantime, stay well, and we'll see you next Thursday. All right, thanks all. And Madhu, Srinivas, thank you guys as well. Appreciate it. All right, have a great day. Thanks.